Hey everybody, ODW here, Darrell Waltrip, and you're watching Delmarva Life.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. I can't say it like you did. I just can't say it like you did.
And you shouldn't.
And I shouldn't. You're right. It's all Darrell. Leave it at that.
Well, you see the commercials everywhere. Automakers are rolling out new models and dealers are trying to get you in the door.
Now, maybe you're tempted to get a new ride, but is leasing the right thing for you? Well, in today's Angie's List report, Brian Spyros explains the pros and the cons when it comes to leasing a vehicle.
For some people, leasing a new vehicle can be more appealing than buying one. That was the case for Citrana Harmon Forgini.
When we compared both costs, we realized that we were better off leasing, and again, considering the fact that we only wanted it for a short period and then needing a new car after several years.
Auto experts say a brand new car can depreciate in value by up to 20% as soon as it's driven off the lot. Jeff Roush says leasing is very common at his dealership.
Leasing is really back in a big way, We run anywhere right now from 40 to 50% lease of all our new vehicles.
When leasing a car, it's just like buying a car. You should be prepared and understand exactly how much the car is really worth and go in ready to negotiate. And don't just think about the monthly payment, also think about the residual value of the car, the price that you would pay if you wanted to buy the car out of the lease, because you might fall in love with the car and want to keep it.
Lease payments are generally lower than loan payments. Monthly lease payments can range from $160 to well over $1,000, depending on a vehicle's make and model. A typical lease lasts for 36 months, though some dealerships offer them for 1 to 5 years.
When deciding whether to lease or to buy a car, you really need to think about your lifestyle. Remember that when you're leasing, you're going to get a new car every few years, but you're always going to have a car payment, even though your car payment's probably less than if you were buying the car. Additionally, remember that if you are leasing, there's usually limitations on mileage. So if your office is a long distance from your home, you want to be careful that you're going to have enough miles on the lease.
If I ever have anybody disgruntled with a lease, it's because they way underestimated their miles. And they did it because they were trying to achieve a payment. You know, they went ahead and signed a lease for 10,000 miles a year, knowing that they drive 18. But it was the payment they wanted. But they got a real slap in the face when that thing was all over, and now they got a big old mileage penalty at the end.
Whether you lease or buy, it's important to do your research. Never walk into a dealership uneducated. You need to know what you want and what you can afford.
You got to have a better credit rating to get a lease. You need to be in the mid to high 600 beacon in order to get a lease. If you're below that, chances are you're not going to get approved.
And when it comes to a lease, keep this in mind.
You don't own that car. The lender owns that car. So when they get it back, they'll allow you to have some normal wear and tear, but it can't be all beat up or they're going to charge you. So those are things you need to consider prior to committing yourself to a lease.
But as Citrana will tell you, there are also benefits to leasing.
In our leasing agreement, all the maintenance is included. And one of the good things about it is that when we take the car in for servicing, we get a car available to us for that day. And we also get free roadside assistance.
Angie's List also advises consumers to ask the dealership about gap insurance coverage. If you have it and the lease car is wrecked, the insurance will cover the difference between the car's actual market value and the remaining balance to pay off the lease.
Food for thought.
Food for thought. Well, there is one person who knows all about cars, three-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Darrell Waltrip. He joins us next to talk about racing the Monster Mile, racing against his little brother, and Delmarva's crab cakes. You don't want to miss this.
And later, the rain over the weekend left us with some nice, moist soil, perfect for planting bulbs. Gardening expert Jenny Rosenkrantz gives us some tips to make sure those bulbs sprout into beautiful springtime flowers. But first, we want to tell you about a contest. Spicer Brothers Construction is looking for the neediest roof on Delmarva. The winner will get a new GAF Designer Lifetime Roofing System.
Also, they'll get some other items for their home, like mattresses for the whole family from That Furniture Store, a York furnace from Austin Cox Home Services and Sharp Energy, Preston for Life from Preston Autoplex, and Preston Hyundai.
A $500 service credit from Simmons Electrical Services, a $500 store credit from How Sweet It Is, a house washing from Sparkle Wash of Delmarva, $500 of landscaping labor from Legendary Landscape, a complete termite treatment, and year worth of pest control service from Critters, and so much more.
So, don't want to miss this deal. For your link to an entry form and a complete list of rules, all you have to do is go to delmarvalife.com, and good luck.